I got very interested in magic when I was a kid. I came here to New York and my parents said I saw a magician at Radio City Music Hall and that's all I talked about. And I found out there was something called Genie magazine. And Dai Vernon's column, Light of the Lamp, opened Genie magazine. And that, to me, was the Bible. Vernon's words and what he had to say, I think, impressed me more than anything when I was starting in magic. I always felt that Dai Vernon was sort of the voice of magic. He said who was good, he said things that were on his mind, and then when I had the good fortune of meeting him, Vernon came to the SAM convention in Philadelphia in 1972. It was quite a convention. Del Rey was there, Fred Capps, Percy Diaconis, Frank Garcia, Martin Nash, Derek Dingle, David Roth. There was just everybody who was anybody was there. And Herb Zarrow came up to me and said, and I'd known Herb from the day I started in magic, and he said, "Vernon's going to give a lecture tonight. Would you like to come?" And it was a midnight lecture. And I went to it. My brother was into magic at the time, and we went, we sat in the very front, and Vernon talked till about, I think, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. Fred Capps later said it was the greatest thing he'd ever heard. I would have to agree, because he just did endless magic, and it was all flawless, and it was just amazing. So to see him after all these years of reading him and reading his books, Vernon to me was a true magician, because he loved magic in a way that he sacrificed a lot of his life to perform and also to put out these incredible books. The Dai Vernon Book of Magic, which I still own, was a leather-bound book. And it's absolutely one of the most beautiful books. I've been in publishing my whole life. It's one of the most beautiful books I own. And yet, I learned that they only sold 700 copies. They lost money on it. And that was true with a lot of things that Vernon did with magic. He didn't do them for profit. He did them because he loved the art. I have to think that the best magician I saw in terms of making me want to go out and do more magic was Michael Skinner. That Michael was just, I think Ed Marlowe said it best, when you watched Michael perform, you couldn't tell his left hand from his right hand. There was no weakness to anything that he did. It all just looked like real magic. And Mike came down once to Florida for a long weekend, and Bill Malone's and I spent tons of time with him, and Mike just did trick after trick after trick, and they were all mind-blowing, from picking up a packet of sugar, or picking up a straw, or a ring, or cards, or coins, or then the napkins, and it was just on and on and on. And those still stay in my mind as being some of the most amazing magic I'd ever seen. I grew up in an age of magic where there weren't videos or DVDs or downloads. It was books. And my parents impressed upon me to go and meet the magicians and take lessons. And I got to study with some really great magicians. When I go into towns, I travel quite a bit, I say, who's performing? Who can I go see? Is there somebody performing, even if it's at a local Bennigan's, or if it's at a bar, or whatever it is? Go see them. You'll learn something new. Your eyes will be open to something. You'll see somebody take a trick that you didn't think was very good and turn it into a miracle. And that, to me, is what's the great thing about this art. There's still so much to learn. I've been doing magic now for 43 years. I'm a student. I'm not a master of it. I'll never profess to be a master of it. But you're always a student. And as a result, you remain childlike. You remain like a kid, because this is something you're passionate about. I've always had a lot of passions in my life. The same time I became interested in magic, passionate about magic, I became passionate about writing novels. And I have now about to publish my 15th or 16th novel. And one of the series I did was books about a guy named Tony Valentine. And Tony went into casinos and caught cheaters. And it allowed me to really write about scams, and I consider scamming and conning to be an art form. There's a whole science and an art to scamming, and there's also a language, and there's a vernacular to that world. And one of the things I liked about writing those books was I put a lot of that stuff down. And I have people contact me, even though I haven't written one in several years, contact me every week all over the world who are reading those books and how fascinated they are about that world. And I'm doing a new series where I'm going to try to do the same thing. It's called Dark Magic. It's about a magician here in New York. And he, along with being a magician, he's also a psychic. But that part of himself he keeps hidden. And it was really a lot of fun to do. And one of the people that helped me with it was my friend Bill Malone. When I was because creating a character is very difficult for books. You have to spend a lot of time. And I called Bill, and he said, make this magician, you got to make him real, but make him what you would like a magician to be. Don't base him on anyone. Make him what you would want a magician to be. If you went to see a show, what would you like the guy to be doing? And I thought that was just the best advice. So this character was created for these books, and it was really a lot of fun. And it's fun to write about something you're passionate about, because I think the passion bleeds through on every sentence you write. You're not borrowing ideas. And this was also a fun book for me to do, because for magicians who will read it, I have references to Del Rey, to Fred Capps, to Long Tack Sam, to David Blaine, to David Copperfield, to all the magicians I've known or I've met or who are around now. I have references in this book that I think only magicians will get. So I don't want to say they're insider jokes, but there's a lot of inside stuff about magic that I think people who are in the field will really like.